here, but nobody's any better at this than you are.
Have fun, take a deep breath.
Give them hell at the end. You like this?
Fight like hell like we do every week. You are the best here.
Brett, be affirmative.
You told me to get on.
Info. Ready. Ready. Slow. Green, green, green.
Lock it down, lock it down.
I'm destroyed, and I just got drove through like 6 times on the 14th. What the f is he thinking? That is the stupidest thing I've seen in my career. Literally.
Everything you described is accurate. Haven't even finished the second stage yet. Half the field's wrecked.
Hell yeah!
11 got it.
Proud of you there, Matt. Good job, pal. Thanks, man. Good job all day.
Great work, my man. Great work.
Keep putting yourself in position, we'll win our share, right? We got one back today, brother. Good job.
Therefore, great job, guys.
And welcome back to another exciting week of Racing in the Draft. My name is Mark, and I will be your host for the next 30 minutes or so. Hopefully, you got a chance to watch the Talladega race last weekend, as we never really had the big one, but we got awfully close a couple of times. Hence the comic by Bruno here. Decided to have a little fun with Bubba Wallace's car and Joey Logano's flip. As you can see from the video above, Joey Logano decided to do flip over, and after that he made it very well known that he was not real happy, and I'm not sure I blame him too much for being unhappy for flipping over. But as you can see, the new pair of underwear being passed to Bubba Wallace probably was needed, because if you take a look at the video coming up here, you can see how actually close it was for Bubba Wallace before Joey flipped over his hood. Oh, that's scary. But luckily enough, all drivers were safe and everything was fine. But this week, we're going to head to Kansas. But before we do that, let's take a look really quickly at how the optimal lineups showed up for Talladega last week. Optimal lineups for Talladega had a couple of new people, Anthony Alfredo and Kaz Garala, coming in with our big PD upsides, moving up from 38th to 6th and 30th to 12th. A couple of the guys that we thought might do fairly well did. Michael Mcdowell, our Daytona 500 winner, came from 23rd to finish 3rd. Kevin Harvick, 16th to 4th, and Matt DD, 13th to 5th. Brad K, our winner of the race, moved from 10th to 1st. So, definitely 4 PD upside plays moved up, which was helpful. But as you can see, our starting spot was 21.7, which was not quite as high as I probably had anticipated or had thought, or the averages had been, but we definitely did not need to spend all 50,000. As you can see, we spent the optimal lineup spent 47,000. No real changes to the top of the list for optimal drivers for the year. Martin Truex and Denny Hamlin still coming in at 5 apiece. Joe Logano, Christopher Bell, Eric Jones, and Alex Bowman rounding out with 3. Alright, without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive right into Kansas. Kansas this week, after digging really far into everything, was quite interesting. But let's take a look at Kansas Speedway first. This week we have the Bushy McBusch Race 400 at Kansas Speedway. What a name. It's quite interesting, makes me laugh, but it's what it's supposed to do. The track type is a 1.5 mile tri-oval with banking of 17 up to 20 degrees, progressive banking. Race length is 267 laps. Dominator points are 186.9. Laps led will equal up to 66.75, and fast laps of 120.15. Dominators will be needed, but not absolutely essential. I think because of the way things are priced out this week, we will definitely need 1 and probably 2, but it's going to be... Dominators might be easier to get a hold of than place differential, as you will see as we start to dive into the drivers. DraftKings, I think, may have done the best job that they have done at least this year and maybe even last year. They have really valued up the place differential drivers. So it's going to be tricky this week, and I'll be really interested to see what the optimal lineup looks like. So kind of a word of caution going into this week is all I can kind of say about it. I'll still be playing just normally as I always do, and we'll kind of see what turns out on Sunday. All right, DraftKings pricing from 11,003 to 10,002. Kyle Larson, 11,300, starting 32nd. As you can kind of see in the upper corner closest to Kyle's car, I've added a couple of things. So he is power ranked at number 1, but I've also added in PD1, which is what I am taking and what the algorithm kind of spit out is him being the number 1 place differential, somebody who has run up front before at Kansas, can get to the front, can lead laps, those types of things. With him starting 32nd, he could easily finish in the top 5 or even top 3. So he probably, as long as he doesn't have any issues, could easily gain us 25 to 30 place differential points. And the D4 is he has a chance to be a dominator, and I'm putting him 4th on the list of potential dominators. As always, the other corner is the number of starts that he's had at this track. So he has, and then the first set of numbers, which is 0 wins, and then the 1, 2, and 3. So he has 0 wins, 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, and 3 top 20s. 63.5 DraftKings average, 8.3 average finish. And then the next set of stats is what he has as a full history at Kansas. So he did not race in either one of the races last year. No wins yet at Kansas, but he does have 3 total top 5s. So in the last 5 races, he has 1 top 5, and the total of all of his 12, he has 3 top 5s. So that kind of gives you a breakdown of what you're looking at here as I post the stats for these drivers. Next in line, Joey Logano, $11,000, starting 29th. I've got him as a power ranking of 4, PD placing of 2, and a dominator of 5. He does have 1 win in the last 5 races, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and 5 top 20s, a 53.9 DraftKings average, 9.0 average finish. He finished first here in the fall race, and he does have a total of 3 wins, 8 top 5s. Joe Logano, starting 29th, will be another driver that will have tremendous PD upside this week, and as we saw, the reason why that is because he flipped upside down and almost took out half the field at Talladega. So he finished very poorly, even though Kyle Larson actually finished worse than he did, because I'm not sure Kyle even he did get 1 lap in before his car overheated and blew up because of a error in I'm not even really sure, but it was an error by the team, not by Kyle. So he didn't really make much more than 1 or 2 laps, and he overheated and blew the engine up. But that's the reason why both of these guys are starting 32nd and 29th, because we have the dynamic setting of the field, which takes into account owners' points, drivers' points, place where they finished last week, laps led, fastest laps. There's a bunch of things that they take into consideration to figure out that formula, and I just gotta wait for them to figure it out. I could figure it out, but there's people a lot smarter than me to do that. All right, next in line, Denny Hamlin, 10,800, starting 20th. Power ranking of 2. He has a PD upside of 4. Dominator potential ranking of 3. Starting 20th with an average finish of 9.6. He does have 1 win in the last 5, 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s, and 5 top 20s. So the last 5 races he has finished in the top 20 every time. 58.4 DraftKings average, 9.6 average finish. Last fall he finished 25th in this race. Total stats, 2 wins and 2 top 5s. Next in line, Chase Elliott, 10,400. Starting 17th, has a power ranking this week of 5, and his PD upside is 5 because he's starting 17th, and he has a Dominator ranking of 6 this week. He does have 1 win, 2 top 10s, and 4 top 20s, a 58.4 DraftKings average, 16.4 average finish. Finished 6th here in the fall race, and does have that 1 win is all he has out of his 10 starts, and 4 top 5s. So almost half the time Chase Elliott is finishing in the top 5. All right, next in line, Alex Bowman, 10,200. Starting 25th, has a power ranking of 8, PD upside of 3, and a potential dominator of a 9. Alex has not won a race here yet. He does have 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and 5 top 20s. 45.9 DraftKings average, 8th place average finish over the last 5 races, and out of his 11 attempts here at Kansas, once again 2 top 5s, and he finished 3rd here last fall. Our next set of drivers, Martin Truex Jr. coming in at 10,000. Has a power ranking of 6 this week. Starting 15th, has a PD upside of, or PD ranking of 6, and a dominator potential at 7. No wins, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, and 5 top 20s. 47.3 DraftKings average, 8.4 average finish. Out of his 25 attempts here, he has finished in the top 5 9 times, has 2 wins, and last fall finished 9th. Brad Keselowski, our pole sitter and last week's winner at Talladega at $9,700. Win last week, and typically you get the pole for this week. Power ranking of 7, dominator potential of 2. Does not have any wins in the last 5 races here, but does have a average finish of 6.1, 60.0 DraftKings average, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, and 5 top 20s in the last 5 attempts. 22 total times Brad has raced at Kansas, 7 top 5s, 2 wins, and finished 9th here in the fall. So as you can see, real quickly, we'll kind of rewind just for a quick second. Our top 5 most expensive drivers are starting 17th or worse. Same thing here with Martin Truex starting 15th. Our first high-ranking starter is Brad Keselowski starting 1st. And it's a 7th highest priced driver. That was kind of difficult to say. But either way, let's get back into it. Ryan Blaney starting 7th, $9,500, has a power ranking of 10 this week and a potential dominator. I'm placing him at 8. No wins, no top 5s in the last 5 attempts, 2 top 10s, 3 top 20s, a 23.4 DraftKings average, 17.4 average finish. Finished 7th here last fall, and 3 top 5s out of his 12 total attempts here. For some reason, this track, being a mile and a half, and typically Ryan Blaney runs extremely well at mile and a halves, this track has been not the kindest, and he has had a little bit of struggles finishing well at Kansas. So take that with what you may, but he does have the potential, because he's starting 7th, to have some dominator, but being 8th on the dominator grid may not be that great. Next in line, Kurt Busch at $9,300, and actually beating out his brother this week, at least in pricing. Will be starting 28th, and hence the reason why he's a little bit more expensive. But I have him 11th on the power ranking, a PD potential upside of 8. No wins, 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, and 4 top 20s. 23.4 DraftKings average, and a 17.4 average finish in his last 5 attempts. He has started here all 30 times and finished 19th last fall. Still does not have a win in his entire history, but does have 4 top 5s. Kurt should run fairly well and probably finish better than 28th, so he should get you some PD upside. Don't think he'll dominate, but good chance he will get us some PD. Kevin Harvick, 3rd on the power ranking and number 1 on the dominator list, in my opinion, this week. He is starting 4th. No wins, but 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and 5 top 20s. Has an 8.2 average finish in his last 5 attempts here, and a 67.8 average finish. Finished 2nd here last fall, 3 wins, and 10 top 5s out of his 30 attempts. Kevin will be somebody, if Stewart-Haas has figured out their issues. They've been finishing better the last 2 or 3 races. Finishing better. Running better and finishing better at Richmond. Kevin didn't have the finish, but he was running in the top 10 most of the day. Aric Almirola finally got a top 10 finish at Richmond, and both of them ended up finishing fairly well at Talladega. So kind of tricky to see really where they're at. We'll find out this week if Stewart-Haas has figured out their issues. So take that with a grain of salt. Kevin should still do well. This is one of his better tracks. Next in line, William Byron at 8,800, starting in the number 2 spot. Shotgun on the field, 13th on the power ranking, and I have him in the field as 8th. Mostly because of where his starting position is, and I don't think he will stay out front and lead a tremendous amount of laps, which we would need for him to be considered a dominator. He does have 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, and 10 top 20s. Only a 27.4 DraftKings average and a 16.4 average finish. He finished 4th here in the fall last fall, and 3 top 10s out of his 6 attempts. So not awful, not great. Not going to put him as a dominator, and starting 2nd, he has no real PD upside. So there's a lot of risk to taking William Byron this week. Kyle Busch, 8,600, 9th on the power ranking and a potential 10th on the dominator scale. No wins, but does have 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s, 3 top 20s in the last 5 races. 27.4 DraftKings average, 16.4 average finish. Finished 5th here last fall. 1 win in his 26 attempts with 12 top 10s. So almost half the time he's finishing in the top 10. Once again, Kyle just doesn't do well without practice. Now he's running the truck race, which potentially could help give him a little bit of knowledge on how the track is running, but it's still not being in the Cup car. I just don't. I think he could finish in the top 5, maybe. More than likely, probably about where he's starting, 7th, 8th, 9th, which doesn't give us any PD upside. Doesn't really give us any dominator. And at 8,600, it's going to be tough. So take it with what you will. Aric Almirola, $8,400, starting 18th. As you can see, the PD I have a question mark on. He didn't quite fit into the top 10, but starting 18th, there is a little bit of PD upside because his average finish is 13th in the last 5 attempts here. 33.5 DraftKings average, 2 top 10s and 4 top 20s. 14th on the power ranking, and I have him 6th on the field list. That'll make more sense when we get to the end of this program on what that actually truly means. Next in line, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., $8,200, starting 23rd. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is probably having one of the best years he's had in many, many years in the Cup Series. 20th this week on the power ranking, has a PD upside of 10, just because on how poorly not poorly would be a bad word, how his average finish is 15.4, which is not shabby, especially starting 23rd. 34.3 DraftKings average. On the field, I'm making him a 3, and PD as a 10. 23rd to 15th place average finish, there's some room for PD upside there. But as you can see in the last 5 races, he only has 5 top 20s, no top 10s, no top 5s. Finished 16th here last fall, and no top 10s out of his 16 attempts at Kansas. Next in line, Christopher Bell, $88,000 flat, starting 8th, 17th on the power grid. I don't have him as a field filler and don't have any PD upside, starting 8th, and I don't expect Christopher to be a dominator this week. As we can see, he has a 19th place average finish, 39.1 average DraftKings average, 1 top 10, 1 top 20, and he started here twice. Next grouping, we have Eric Jones at $7,800, is starting 27th. 12th on the power ranking, has a PD upside of 9, and you're probably like, but he's starting 27th, he's starting towards the back. Correct, he's in new equipment this year. He was racing for Joe Gibbs last year. Now he's performed well so far this year with Richard Petty, but it's still a question mark on what type of speed and horsepower he's going to get out of that Richard Petty machine. But he does have a 38.1 DraftKings average, 11.6 average finish, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and 4 top 20s in his last 5 starts, with a 27th place finish last fall and 5 top 10s out of his 9 total starts. So his stats here are pretty good. Still questioning on how well he's going to run in Richard Petty Motorsports equipment. Not that they're a bad team, but they're a single car team that has potential to struggle and don't have any teammates really to lean on. Alright, next in line, Matty Benedetto, $7,700, starting 5th. 15th on the power ranking, has no top 5s, no top 10s, but does have 3 top 20s. That doesn't help you with PD upside when you have an 18.4 average finish, but has a 30.0 DraftKings average. Hence the reason why he's 15th on the power ranking this week. Finished 21st here in the fall and has no wins, no top 10s in his 12 attempts at Kansas. Not sure I'm going to have a whole lot of Mr. Matty Benedetto, but he is priced in the middle of the field, so we'll see. Austin Dillon, $7,500, starting 6th. Once again, not a whole lot of PD upside from Mr. Dillon, giving him a 23rd on the power ranking. No top 5s, no top 10s, and 5 top 20s. 32.7 DraftKings average and a 14.4 average finish. And out of his 15 total starts here, only has 3 top 10s, finished 11th here last fall. Just like Matty D, I'm not sure I'll have a whole lot of Austin Dillon. He will be scattered in some of my lineups, maybe 5%. Matt will probably also be about 5%. Ryan Newman, 7,400, starting 17th. A little bit of PD upside here with Ryan Newman. Not a whole lot because his average finish is 23.4 in the last 5 races, 13.0 DraftKings average, and only 1 top 20 in the last 5 attempts. He has raced here all 30 times. He does have 7 top 10s, 1 win, and a 22nd place finish last fall. Next in line, Bubba Wallace, my first driver that I highly caution taking this week, starting 13th with an average finish double that of 26.2, 7.0 DraftKings average in his last 5 attempts with only 1 top 20, where he finished 18th last fall. No wins, no top 10s out of his 6 attempts here at Kansas. Bubba typically doesn't perform that well, even though this year he is in 2311 equipment, which is still a new team and don't have much information on him, so not sure I will have much of any of Mr. Wallace. Next in line, Cole Custer, 7,100, 14th starting place, 22nd on the power ranking this week. Has 1 top 10, 2 top 20s in his last 5 starts. He's only started here twice, so take that however you may. 36.6 DraftKings average in those 2 starts and a 16.4 average finish. He finished 14th last fall. No wins, and then every time he's started here, he's finished in the top 20. So Cole Custer, not awful, not great, not bad, middle of the road, 22nd on the power ranking. Next in line, Tyler Reddick, 6,900. The last time we were at a progressive banked track, similar to Kansas, Las Vegas, and Miami, he performed pretty well. So take that. He is ranked 20th on the power ranking, mostly because of his 11th place starting spot. His field spot is 10, 2 top 10s, 2 top 20s in the last 5 starts. He's only started here 3 times, so out of his last 3 starts here, 31.5 DraftKings average, 14.7 average finish, finished 25th. His worst finishing spot was in the fall race last year, and he does have those 2 top 20s. Austin Cindric, $6,700, starting 38th. This is our next big PD upside, even though Austin has only started in the Cup Series 3 times so far in his career. As you can see, he has started 4 times in the Xfinity car, has 1 top 20, and that was a best of 2nd place. So 18th on the power grid, PD spot of 7, and a field filler as ranking 4th. So I will definitely have some Austin Cindric. It does give us a little bit of salary relief, but maybe not as much as we need, knowing how priced up the real true PD upside guys are this week. It's going to be tough this week. That's all I could say. It's going to be interesting to see who actually ends up with, or what drivers end up in the optimal lineup. Just because you can't fit them all. Next in line, Ross Chastain, 6,500, starting 24th. 26th on the power ranking, field filler as 11th. As you can see, he is yellow, which means beware, caution. Because he's starting 24th, his average finish is 30.7, 7.6 DraftKings average, no top 20s. Didn't race last year in the fall race, and has raced a total of 4 times. Hence the reason why he's yellow. We don't have a whole lot of data and information on Ross. Daniel Suarez, 6,300, starting 21st. Does have a little bit of PD upside here. Not a whole lot because his average finish is 24.6, 17.3 DraftKings average. He does have a field fill ranking of 5th, mostly because of his starting position. He does have 3 top 20s in his last 8 starts here. All right, now we're getting into our price relief drivers, and we're going to have to find guys in this price range to be able to take our true dominator and place differential guys that should do very well this weekend. So Chris Buescher, 6,100, starting 16th on the power ranking, and field filler at 8. Has 1 top 10, 3 top 20s in his last 5 starts, 31.6 DraftKings average, 17th place average finish. Finished 21st here in the fall, and out of his 10 total starts at Kansas, has finished in the top 20 5 times. Next in line, Chase Briscoe, $6,000. Not a whole lot of stats here, at least in Cup, but does have 4 Xfinity starts with 3 top 20s, and he has one in the Xfinity car before. Giving him a 25th on the power ranking, mostly because of his starting spot. Would much rather have seen something 10 places higher, but that's okay. Field filler 6th. He could be some pricing relief that may not get you any PD upside, but he may not cost you any PD. So somebody to think about taking this week. Michael Mcdowell, our Daytona 500 winner and 3rd place on a super speedway. With that being said, both of those were super speedways. He doesn't perform particularly well at mile and a halfs. This year has been better than previous years, but as we can see, he's starting 3rd. That's a really, really big risk. He would have to finish 3rd to get as much of any PD upside. And with a 23rd place average finish, be very, very careful. I probably would say sway away from him. He has a total of 5 top 20s out of 20 starts. Next in line, Ryan Preece, 5,600, starting 12th. Average finish of 24.8, 19.2 DraftKings average, giving him a cautionary 27th on the power ranking. Last fall finished 29th and 1 top 20 in his last 4 attempts here. Yeah, here's the problem, is literally 6,000 and less. All these guys are going to be big question marks. But we're gonna have to pick somebody out of this group. Corey LaJoie might be one of our safer bets at 5,500, starting 26th, has an average finish of 28.4. He is in better equipment this year than he was last year. I've got him as a field filler ranking of 2. We got to find some sour relief. No top 20s, 13.6 DraftKings average. Finished 23rd here in the fall race in different equipment. 8 total starts here. He's got more starts and runs a little bit better than Michael McDowell. I don't know. We got to come up with a solution here. You'll start to see why. Because pretty much from here on are typically guys that almost never make the optimal lineups, even though they did make the optimal lineup 2 weeks ago. But let's kind of go through them real quick so we know what the bottom of the pricing range is. Garrett Smithley starting 36th, which gives him a little bit of PD upside with a 32.5 average finish, 7.2 average finish. He is started at Kansas in the Cup car twice. Last fall he did finish 26th, so that's made 10 spots. No wins, no top 20s. Matt Mills is a Xfinity driver who is making his first Cup start this weekend, and he'll be debuting starting 39th. Well, the nice thing about Matt is he is starting dead last in the field, but he's in BJ McLeod equipment. Not that that's the worst of the worst, but it's not great equipment. So we don't have any stats on him in the Cup Series, but in Xfinity he started 3 times and only finished in the top 20 one time, and that was a 20th place finish. Very risky, other than the fact he has no other place to go but up at this point. Next in line, Justin Haley, 5,100, 38th on the power ranking, mostly because his starting spot is 31st out of 39. He's never competed in Cup here before. Does have 3 Xfinity starts. All 3 ended up being top 10s, so Justin has finished well here in the Xfinity car. Buyer beware. Josh Bilicki, 5,000, starting 37th, but has a 35.5 average finish in his 3 starts. Finished 36th here in the fall. If that 4 top 20s is not correct, I did not fix that correctly. Sorry about that. 32nd on the power ranking. Joey Gase, 4,900, starting 35th. Finished 37th here last fall. 26.8 average finish. 33.9 DraftKings average. He has started 8 times here. Is that right? Yeah, actually, Joey has started at Kansas 8 times. Dating all the way back to 2014. I thought I had misprinted that, but as you can see, his finishing spots have been 37, 38, 34, 35, 38, 38, 29, 37. Not very good. Alright, so let's get rid of that for a second. Back to this. So he does have no top 20s. Starting 35th. He's probably going to finish 35th, 36th, 34. Probably not going to get as much, but does give us some experience. And at 4,900, I don't know. He's right. 35th on the power ranking. Take that for what you will. I probably will not be starting in. Alright, finishing up our last 4 drivers. $4,800, BJ McLeod. Starting 30th, average finish 36th, 8.0 DraftKings average. Cody Ware, 4,700, starting 33rd, 40th place average finish. Both these guys, no PD upside, 11 negative DraftKings average. Quinn Huff, 4,600, starting 34th, average finish of 33rd, DraftKings average of 13. And finishing up the rear of the field with the dude wipes. Might need those before this race is over for Mr. Anthony Alfredo, starting 22nd, starting in the middle of the pack, because he actually finished fairly well at Talladega, just because of people wrecking out. Anthony's a good guy. He's actually racing Cups cars, and I'm sitting here talking on the internet. So, but 4,500, starting 22nd, absolutely no PD upside, no experience at Kansas other than what he's done on iRacing. Alright, let's look at our dominators and place differentials and fill-ins to fill in the rest of the field. As we talked about before, absolute top of the heap for dominator, Kevin Harvick starting 4th, Brad Kay starting 1st. Then everybody else is going to be place differential guys. And as we can kind of see, they mix and match. Kyle Larson's on both, Denny Hamlin's on both, Joey Logano's on both, Chase Elliott's on both, Martin Truex is on both, Alex Bowman is on both. That's all great and fine and dandy, but you look at the pricing and everybody's $10,000 or more. You can't run everybody. You got to pick somebody to fill in. Hence our fill-in guys. So we're looking for, which is great because you can actually have a place differential guy that's also a dominator guy. Kyle Larson could easily be that guy. Starting 32nd on the field, if he can get to the front by after stage 1 and like he did at Kansas or at Las Vegas and actually dominate completely the entire rest of the race, he will easily be in well over 100 points. But if he has any problems in between, he's not going to cost us anything other than the price tag he's bringing in, $11,300. Now let's look at some of these fill-in guys because they cross-match with some place differential. Eric Jones have some PD upside, but he's also a good guy as a fill-in. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., same way. Austin Cindric, same way. So we've got a lot of mix and match going on here, which we typically don't have at a lot of these races. It's usually you've got a group of dominators, you've got a group of people that you would have as place differential, and then you've got the rest of your fill-ins. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this dynamic ends up working out this week. Like I said, it's the first time I've really seen DraftKings priced this where it needs to be, and it probably should be. This probably should be how pricing should come out. So it's good to see that DraftKings has done this, but it's not typical. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays itself out this week. But let's look at last year's optimal lineups real quick. We had 2 and a half, we'll call it, for the fall race. 2.5 Dominators and 3.5 PD upside guys. And then in the spring race, we had 2 Dominators and 4 PD upsides. So as we can see, this typically is find 2 guys that are your Dominators and 4 people who are going to get you PD upside. When we go back up here and look, Kyle Larson, Joey Logano, Alex Bowman, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Austin Cindric. Austin Cindric's the cheapest guy out of the group that's going to have the best potential for PD upside, starting 38th, but he's still 6,700. So we're going to have to take some of these guys that end up being in the red. So Michael McDowell, Ryan Preece potentially could be it. I don't think Michael McDowell's it, starting 3rd. Ryan Preece starting 12th, maybe. Corey LaJoie, 5,500, starting 26th, potentially is a good spot. Chase Briscoe doesn't have a whole lot of starts at Kansas, but has performed fairly well in the Xfinity, so he may be somebody that we could target. But let's kind of get back into this again. Sorry if that made you dizzy. Made me dizzy a little bit. So 2 Dominators. Definitely need 2 Dominators and 4 PD upsides for this week. Other than that, make sure you smash, rub, do whatever you can with the like button. Make sure you share it with anybody else that you think might have enjoyed or would have some benefit from my videos. And good luck this week, and we will talk to you next week. Good luck. Have a great one.
Get a good deep breath. Get ready to roll here.
Only about one thing tonight, getting the W, so got to be around at the end to do that.
Get ready to roll tonight, boys. Let's go have some fun.
Don't get me any more fired up than I already am.
All the way to the checkered. You're fine. Nobody's got to run. Checker time, baby!
Hell yeah.
Proud of you there, Matt. Good job, pal.
Thanks, man. Good job all day.
Great work, my man. Great work.
Keep putting yourself in position. We'll win our share, right? We got one back today, brother. Good job.
Great job, guys.
Excellent work, my man. Excellent work. Thank you.
Man, that's awesome. Set out with a goal we got in here, bud. Thank you very much.
Really proud of you, man. Drove your butt off tonight. We had the fastest car here, bud.
Probably killed our deal there. Just feel like I gave one away. Yeah, boys. Way to rebound. Great job.
Great job, bud. Really good job. Appreciate you hanging in there with us all weekend.
What a weekend. Good job. Thank you.